Hi everybody, it's Wilderness Woman. Just thought I'd take a few minutes to introduce myself. I have been following quite a few of the prepper channels now for about a year. um, in January, when I saw COVID hitting and living off grid, kind of doing this ourselves, I decided I should follow some stations, some channels, and see what we might be missing here on our homestead. Um, Little background, my husband actually has lived off grid for a number of years, starting when he was quite young. It's been over 30 plus years now he's lived off grid. Um, in a school bus. He bought an old school bus and remodeled it, put a stereo system in there, a couple bunks, Swedish refrigerator, stove, had everything you needed for your creature comforts. Um, and just kind of traveled around the local area, took it from job to job quite often. Eventually, he bought the property we're on, and that was back in 2000, so 21 years now. We actually dated in high school, and then we went separate ways, dated again later, went separate ways, and about 5 years ago, we got back together, and 2.5 years ago, we were married. So for me, this has been quite the adventure because I'm a city transplant. Um, when he first bought the property, he actually lived in the bus on the property for a number of years until he could get a trailer house out here. And then when he got the trailer house out here, as money became available, he built the house. When I came out here, he did have well and septic and the structure of the house. But the only room finished on the whole property was the tower room, which is just a 14 by 14, 16 by 16 room on a third story. It's really kind of cool because it does give you a nice lookout. It's a great way to see the sunset or look down at what's going on the property because there are windows on all four sides of that. Since I've been here, we have the second floor done except one room. And we're working on the first floor. There are definite advantages, especially at a time like this, to building as you go, and that's you don't have a mortgage. The disadvantage is sometimes things are slow when you don't have the money and you feel like you're living in a state of chaos. You don't have all the, hi honey, you don't have all the shelving, necessarily that you want. Things really don't have a permanent home yet. Down in the basement, we did have the pantry room redone, so I am able to store all kinds of canned goods and vacuum packed goods, which is wonderful. One of my wishes is an actual root cellar outside someday because our basement still is a little too warm, even with it insulated and blocked off from the wood heat. So we're talking about different options we can do with that. You want to come say hi? Not yet. You're going to check the fire. So that's kind of our story. We did get chickens a year ago. They didn't come until like July. Had them over the winter. Got our first eggs when it was still cold out. So I was really surprised. And we actually had quite a few eggs at that time. I think they're molting. Eggs are slowing down quite a bit. Buggy, stop it. Stop it. But we also have a broody hen sitting on 8 eggs. So we're on day 6. Can't wait to see how this goes. Decided it would probably be easier to let the hens raise up their own young than to go get new chicks this spring. But if it doesn't work out, we'll just go get new chicks so we can add some more to our flock. Currently we have 14 hens and 4 roosters, so I definitely want more chickens, but right now the roosters are pretty young yet, so they're getting along. But if we can't get more female chickens pretty soon, if we only have the one going broody, I will definitely have to go out and get some more. Living where we live in a township. Probably takes about 10 minutes to get to town on a good day if we're plowed out. If we haven't had a lot of rain because we have dirt roads. And our town has 2 bars and a zip code. So if you're talking groceries, you can go to a small town. We have 3 of them to choose. They're about 30 miles away. But they're not cheap. They're very expensive, being the small towns. To get to a large area where we might have, say, a Woodman's, you're talking an hour drive, hour and 20 minutes going the other way. So we are in central Wisconsin. Living off grid has been quite interesting, but considering the amount of money they wanted to bring electrical out to this property, my husband said nope, and he lived off generators for a number of years. Since I've been out here, we actually have the solar system hooked up now, which is, it was a little slow because there was a learning curve there for him, something he had not worked with. He did hook it up himself. He did select the batteries himself. We do have lead acid because he doesn't like lead acids. Do take a bit more work since they tend to. At this point, I have not learned how to test them. I do know how to equalize them and set the equipment so that it will equalize. So that's something that I have to learn. I do know how to operate the generators and switch from our inverters to generators and all those things you really need to do to survive out here. Just like he is learning how to can and vacuum pack food. If something would happen to one of us, the other one has to be able to continue on. Let's see, what else? Anything else? I don't know what else you might want to know, but that's kind of our story. Again, I'm a transplant, so I'm kind of learning as I go. I don't think I'd trade it for the world, though. There's something very calming about this lifestyle instead of the city rat race. There's something wonderful about not having to get up in the morning and put on makeup if I don't want to. But you also face your challenges. Today we're snowing again. It's wet outside. There's chores to be done. And you just got to do what you got to do. But I really think that is something I wouldn't give up for the world. Off-grid has those challenges, but we're not off-grid like a lot of people because of how he's designed his system and because he really is an electric junkie, shall I say. Some of the equipment that he has to use to bench test other equipment actually takes quite a bit of electricity. He can be gone all week and I can have 3 cloudy days and still make it all week with our solar system, where if he'd come home sometimes the same night, he can drain out our batteries and have to recharge them with the generator. We have both changed our ways quite a bit. He is naturally a very nocturnal person. I actually am too. And we find ourselves going to bed earlier and getting up earlier and really using that daylight and that sunshine. But we still have stereo systems, coffee pots, washers, dryers, cook can, all those things, which some off-gridders, because of how their system is set up, they really struggle. We were selected to be on the Mira open house one year for our solar systems. And when people came by and toured, they could not believe all the electricity that we were using during the day. They had heard horror stories like if you want to vacuum, you have to unplug everything. They're probably not using a very good system or a big system, and they probably don't have a lot of batteries. You'll have to watch his video on that stuff because it's the technical end that, I don't know, they're just downstairs. I don't remember how many there are. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 times 4, maybe 24, if I remember right. I don't know. Sorry, can't help you out. Been dehydrating a lot of onions lately. I got my hands on some onions and potatoes. Soon to start the potatoes, so I have been asked by some friends to do some canning, dehydrating, storing food videos, which I will do. Even though I was a city girl, family actually came from farming communities, so I did learn a lot of those things, spending summers on the farm. Garden, we've decided we're tripling this year. I wanted double, and with everything going on, he said, no, we're tripling it. So that will be a whole nother venture in work, and we'll see how that turns out. I was kind of hoping he'd come up and at least say hi and show his face and wave, but I guess he's not. He's working on the wood stove. So, um, yeah, keep an eye out. We'll put up some videos now and then and try and get going. Again, we're not perfect. Nobody's perfect. Definitely always room to learn. And that's why I like going in all the channels and meeting people and talking to people, is it's a chance to share some of those experiences. And instead of having to reinvent the wheel, I can pick up tips and tricks and go from there. So talk to y'all later. Bye.